Well, this is very strange. My phone seems to automatically start running, automatically start recording. Don't know why it does that. Anyway, this is an impromptu part 2 of my exploration of the writing of, or my writing of Emily Pember's story for kids, which is an existentialist story, and it's called Kurkle Dunwich, which is the village where it's based. I think I see this as being a cartoon one day. I'd love to see it as an animation. I'm not really sure what kind of animation. I don't think stop motion will suit it, like Aardman Animations, Wallace and Gromit. I don't think that's the kind of thing. I think it's more like, and I don't think the modern sort of blockbuster film animation is the kind of thing either. I think it should be a traditional sort of animation. Obviously it's a bit much to ask it to be done by hand now, but the style can be that kind of style. Let me just see if I can open up the document which I had here not so long ago. Kurkle Dunwich, here we go. I quite like the sundials chapter. I've been reading a book about sundials, and it's a beautiful little book. Back then I was an antiquarian book collector, and I used to go to the antiquarian book fair in Kensington and Chelsea every year. I used to see John Westwood up there, John Portsmouth Football Club Westwood, sometimes on his stall, because he runs the Chichester bookshop near the railway station. So the Sundials chapter was really about that book, which I can't remember what it was called. It was probably just called Sundials. It's a beautiful little illustrated book, and somebody basically spent the whole of the summer wandering around churchyards in England, drawing in watercolours the sundials that he found, and making a note of the inscriptions, the Latin mottos, and I learned quite a lot of Latin from that book. It's really interesting. So I wanted to capture that in words somehow, because it's a really traditional English thing, and the whole book was supposed to be based on traditional English features. So the church, the village of Kurkle Dunwich, the sundials, all these different things it's really supposed to be a very traditionally English book. The original PDF of the book has on it that it's authored by Simon Clifton. That is a pen name that I used to use. Clifton is one of my middle names, but I've just changed to using my birth surname now, just because I had about 3 or 4 different nom de plumes for different types of writing, and it was just getting too much to manage. And I'm a lot more sort of open and transparent in the limelight, or the public eye, now than I used to be. I used to feel that I always wanted to not quite give up my private life so much. And the title, under the title, it says subtitle for little adults and big children, dedicated to mothers everywhere. And let's have a look here. Albert Bridge House. I think that was in Hampstead Heath, where you walk down from the top of the hill. So if you go from Golders Green up the hill, what's it called? I can't remember now. There's a house at the top of the hill there, and if you follow the path down onto Hampstead Heath from there, you find a little house which I think is actually toilets. Or maybe a little bit further along there's a bridge little footbridge. I think that's where that was based on. And of course, Boggy Doggy and Hampstead's Heath. We used to go walking a lot up on Hampstead Heath at the weekends, my partner and I. She loved walking up there. Davy lamp was actually an original type of torch lamp, gas lamp, I believe. Maybe the one with a candle in it. I can't remember exactly, but maybe the one that miners used to use. Alutula. I think Alutula chapter is, the word Alutula is something to do with the place Tula, which is outside Moscow. I think to the north, where Ilya's family had a dacha that we used to go up to in the summer. The dozing claws. I'm not sure where they came from exactly. Animal spirits. I think that the idea of the words animal spirits came from the economics book by Adam Smith, or a subsequent recent economics book based on that. He used to have this concept of the market forces, which he called the invisible hand. Lewis Pound, that's an interesting one, chapter 7, because the Lewis pound is actually a form of currency in England. So in England, it is legal to have different forms of currency as long as they're registered and controlled in a certain way, in keeping with the required legislation. And a place called Lewis, just down the coast from Portsmouth, where I lived on and off and was born, is down towards Arundel, Brighton way, and it has its own pound called the Lewis pound. The paper chase, this was an idea I got. It was just about an old traditional thing in England. They used to have paper chases. Uncle Victor's Mean Machine, I've got no idea where that came from. Fossils. In between being with Yulia, Yulia went on a fossil digging expedition on the Jurassic coast here. Or was it? I think it might have been in Brighton actually, so other way. And I think that was partly connected to that, but the main thing was about the two Marys. So the two Marys are actually both based on very famous women named Mary, who I think were both fossil hunters, paleontologists, something along those lines, archaeologists maybe. And they were sort of pioneers of feminism, really, because they were in a completely male-dominated science, and they became very well known. You'll have to look up their names because I've forgotten them, but I'm sure some other people know who are watching this. Springs. Now this was based on and in a little village called Bidbury Mead, which is in Havant, just along the coast here from Portsmouth. And I lived in Havant for a while. I grew up there in my latter teenage years. And the cricket field at Bidbury Mead, it's a little traditional little village. And if anything, Kurkle Dunwich is based on the village. Kurkle Dunwich is based on Bidbury Mead. But the cricket field is often flooded because the water table is very high during certain times of the year. And so this was based there. In my mind, as I was writing it, I was imagining that location and these springs of water bouncing up through the cricket pitch, but they weren't springs of water, they were real coily metal springs, which is ridiculous, but a bit of a play on words. The last printing press, chapter 2, the penultimate chapter. I think this is based on visiting the British Library a lot when I was dating Yulia, and downstairs they had the Gutenberg, I think it was the Gutenberg press, printing press, or it might have been a different one because I think there were two, then chapter 1, the final chapter, Hello Again Emily, is a revisit of the first chapter, which is called chapter 21, which is called Hello Emily. So that's where we discover that we are in eternal return, and we've gone back to the start again. So that is pretty much it. The inscription at the start, for the most part dedicated to Dad, Auntie Audrey and mothers everywhere. This is my England. With special thanks to the following supporters, without whom Kurkle Dunwich would not be real. A couple of people in Russia, and appreciation of inspiration from Chapter 11, Enchanted by Lancelot Cross, author of A Book of Sundials 1914. There you go, that's the book. Chapter 4, Enchanted by Mary Anning and Mary Leakey, paleontologists of sedimentary note. There's the Marys. And chapter 2, Enchanted by William Caxton. That was the Caxton Press, UK inventor of the printing press, arguably over or beneath Gutenberg. And there we go. I'm not really sure what else to say about it. I enjoyed writing it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it was something that I had to do that was necessary. Don't know why. And I had found that writing in England was really difficult. Lots of procrastination, lots of revisiting parts, rewriting parts, correcting mistakes, typos, grammatical errors, the way the sentence is scanned, improving the way it read out loud, all this sort of thing. And then I went to Russia and I wrote this thing, one chapter a day, literally in whatever it was, 20 days, without correcting a single thing, without revisiting any part of it. I've never gone back over it, not once. Absolutely not once. And I put a lot of that down to the culture in Russia and how I was feeling while I was there. Just very, very focused, totally focused on what I was doing, without distraction, you know. And I think that was about my assimilation into the culture. It just seemed to be like that. It's never been like that before or since me only in Moscow. So there we go. So that, where we were staying was, let me think now, Lublino. I always get mixed up between Ljubljana and Slovenia. I think Lublino and Moscow. I think I've got those the right way around. That's where our family lived. And there you go. The artist character is a bit of me, because I used to be oil painting back then. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have to say on the matter. But I hope I've published it by the time you see this and you can read it. And if not, I think I've recorded some audio book excerpts which you can listen to or watch the videos of on this YouTube channel. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.